people aren't getting paid, and doctors and nurses about to lose their jobs. So yeah, I think somebody messed up. It's 9 o'clock. Let's keep on the phones here and go over to Attorney Tom Fisher, who is...
Hey, Chris.
Hi, good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Chris.
Got Sabrina over here.
Hi, Sabrina. How you doing?
Hanging in there. How are you?
Oh, same thing.
I thought I was going to see you in action earlier this week, but I guess that didn't really happen.
Oh, we had a delay, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sorry about that.
Oh, no. So what is this that the AG's office was not served? Were they supposed to be served?
Well, I think that's their viewpoint. They're supposed to be served with the writ, but the writ hasn't issued yet. So I'm not real sure that Mr. Canto's correct on that. But nevertheless, we're going to be heard tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so I noticed in Adriana's report, there's actually more plaintiffs that have signed up.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
More people have signed up to the lawsuit?
Yes. More people have certainly expressed interest, and the reason that we're assembling people who are interested in joining this lawsuit is because of our consideration of asking the court to certify a class of GovGuam employees who are entitled to the money.
Mm-hmm.
What was the feeling after that get you got, where you got a get where it was the one of the attorneys working under the Attorney General who jumped onto this double pay lawsuit? How huge was that? I think that was a
Well,
that's what we call a tactical strike.
Well, the employees of the Attorney General's office who were required to report to work during this period are entitled to double pay as well. It doesn't matter what branch of the government you are in, you're entitled to the pay.
Was it just one employee or attorney from the AG's office that joined in? Or are you allowed to disclose that?
Let me put it this way, I won't disclose it. I understand that when the Attorney General's office learned of that, there was a bit of a, I guess concern would be a generous way to put it inside the office. And I don't want to subject anybody in that office to undue pressure.
Right. So that's what you heard, though, from your client, is that were they asking, like, who signed on to this Fisher thing?
Well, I won't say I heard it from the client. I'll just say that I heard it.
Okay.
But good try.
Nice. Yeah. So, you used to be partners with Canto. What's it going to be like when you guys square off tomorrow morning on opposite sides?
It's actually the afternoon, I think, at 2 o'clock, but it'll be just fine. Jamie Canto will be there to argue whatever position he has, or the AG has, on this issue, and I'll be there to argue the other side.
Do you foresee a delay, another delay?
I don't see one on the horizon. That doesn't mean it won't happen.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't see one on the horizon. Today, by 5 o'clock, the Attorney General is supposed to file an opposition if he has one. And then we have basically until 2 in the afternoon to file a reply to that opposition. Okay. But no, I don't see one on the horizon.
What do you anticipate the argument that they're going to make is going to be?
I really don't. I suspect that they're going to focus again on that Section C of the personnel laws. The reason I do say that is because for them to argue something different would be to abandon Lehman Camacho's earlier position, right. And that might be a little awkward for them.
Mm-hmm. I think you were mentioning earlier about Klitsky.
Yeah, I don't know if you got to see the Klitsky commander's public hearing testimony, but it kind of looked like he was siding with Ed Burns' interpretation of that Rule 8 point whatever.
Yeah, 8.406. Yeah, I did see Senator Klitsky's opinion on that. Naturally I disagree, and once again, they're ignoring the law, which is 8.406A, which says that in a public health emergency, can't believe anybody's going to dispute that this is a public health emergency. But in such an emergency, Gov. Guam goes home. And I don't recall seeing Senator Klitsky referencing that section at all.
And your take on this has been that they're conveniently skipping over that A section and just focusing on the C section.
Right, because it, Section A just really trips them up. And, an effective way, sort of, argue it is to just ignore that section. At least that's what they're trying to do, but it's just impossible. It exists.
Kind of reminds me when you're a kid and you pull the blanket over your head and close your eyes so the monster doesn't see you.
Yeah, yeah, and that's rarely effective.
So you guys go in tomorrow, but the legislature, they're also going in. They have several public hearings on the multiple bills that have been introduced to address double pay, and I think emergency session is scheduled for next week, which means the likelihood that they may, pass one of the bills or a bill with different components of all the other bills. Would it impact your lawsuit?
No. It won't. I've looked at, what are there, 4 bills now or 3 bills that are out there? No, it's not going to impact the lawsuit because of the fact that no matter what they do, they can't displace this personnel rule.
Okay.
I suppose they can attempt to do so, but no, I don't see any particular significant effect on the lawsuit. I just, you heard me say it before, but I don't understand why the legislature is rushing in to fix something that's not broken.
Yeah, interesting.
So it's, I guess, I guess each individual senator has a particular position they want to advance, but there's no need to do any of this. The law is in place. All we have to do is follow it.
What's your take on this GFT? I don't know to call it a lawsuit because there hasn't been anything filed, but this effort by GFT, they say they got 600, and I know you're doing your thing and they're doing theirs, but just I'm curious what your comments are on that.
Yeah, but they're also filing it in the district court. They're not going in the...
Yeah, that's true. I believe Mr. Koss said that if and when they get a lawyer, and if and when they draft a lawsuit, that they do want to file it in the district court. I don't know exactly what the jurisdictional grounds for the district court is. I suppose it's some sort of federal labor regulation. I'm not real sure about that. And of course, I can't comment on something that doesn't exist. But I would be disturbed to learn that in order to join the GFT lawsuit, you actually have to join the union.
Is that what happened? Because we asked Koss about that, and he was kind of coy about it. He said, well, they are now. So we said, hey, are you using this as a membership drive? And he said, well, what I can say about the 605 people is that they are now.
Right, he said it to use the words of Dr. Manglotnia.
Right, yeah.
I suppose his intent by saying that was that they are now members of the union?
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, that's disturbing.
Yeah.
It would be peculiar if an attorney charged a member of a potential class money to join that class.
I see.
It's something that I think would make any attorney uncomfortable.
So that's something that we can ask about then.
Yeah, I would certainly ask about it, and ask him to clarify his position.
How you feel about Judge Sokola? I like her.
Well, I've always liked Judge Sokola. In fact, when I started out in private practice, we kind of shared a wall over at the Terlahi building. So, and then I've appeared in front of her I don't know how many times since she's been on the bench.
What was that part of the debate during the court hearing about? I think whether or not it was an emergency, or about hearing the case or something like that.
Yeah, Mr. Canto suggested that we are not in an emergency, or it is not an emergency for these people to get their money. I think that that was just well, I don't know why he said it. It just flies in the face of reality. We are clearly in an emergency. And these people who have been exposing themselves to this contagion need the money. And it's not just for themselves, of course, it's for the family. Rent is due. all sorts of things, medical expenses. I mean, you can name it. And there's additional expenses because undoubtedly there are members of the household who have lost their jobs through no fault of their own and because of this virus. I don't know if Mr. Canto's ever been in a position where he doesn't have any money, but I can tell you from personal experience, not having it feels like an emergency. Right?
Yeah, I'll say.
Yeah.
Well,
going into court tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get this resolved. It's just a shame we've had to go this far.
that's what I was just gonna say. I think it's shameful that, and this isn't even about taking sides. It's about having lived here and having known so many frontline first responders and essential employees who have worked other emergencies and got the double pay. And I just can't wrap my head around politically what Adelup was thinking when they decided to not pay the double pay and then float this COVID differential, which, I mean, I don't even know what money we're going to use to pay that, and if we can use the federal funds, since it was concocted in the middle of the pandemic emergency. But yeah, I mean, to just, and I don't know if it was just an assumption on Adelup's part, but to assume that people out here don't know what the hell they're supposed to get paid during an emergency, to me, like, I wanted to be in that room where they're like, well, let's just not pay the double pay. Ah, yeah. I mean, what were you thinking? I mean, you were spitting in the face of the very people who are out here trying to keep us safe. I really don't know politically, how did that one fly? I think Governor got to check her advisors because they've been doing her all kinds of wrong during this pandemic.
Yeah, I don't know who the genius was who came up with that thought. I think last night, maybe it was on your news program, that the governor was saying that the economic impact of this pandemic will not be as great as people have assumed because so many federal dollars are coming into Guam. Well, if that's the case, I don't understand where the financial strait exists that we can't pay the people.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
pay them.
Yeah, it is kind of conflicting when she says, oh, we can't pay it, we can't afford it, but then it's like, oh, but we're not going to be that bad off because we got all this federal money.
Yeah, and then then all these employees have to, come to the government of Guam hat in hand, begging for what's already theirs.
Right, that's the part that I think doesn't sit well. And then when I want to go back to politically, if you could hear what these frontline first responders and essential employees are saying about the administration on this, oh my God. And I think that's like, if the governor could hear it straight from these people, she would probably do a 180 so fast she might hurt herself.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I won't disagree. All you have to do is, again, let's follow the law. We do that, that the law emerged as a consensus of all the people on Guam. I mean, that's the theory. And since we are giving double pay to these frontliners who are working during a public health emergency, let's start cutting the check.
Yeah.
Well, good luck tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you guys and to your listening public.
All right.
Yeah, definitely.
Take care.
Thank you very much.
Wash your hands, Tom.
I'm Heck no. Of course not.
Such a rebel. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Ay.
Ay. Wow, that's going to be a good one.
We can't pay double pay, but we can hire people.
Yeah. I mean, it's just really I've been saying it all week, the messaging, the communications. If you're going to say out of one side of your mouth that, oh, we pay this double pay, we're going to have to furlough everybody. But then the other side of your mouth, you're hiring political cronies.